How could something sitting in your kitchen drawer have once been worth more than gold, and even start wars that changed the world? Welcome to the Geographic Spice War series. Today, we're following the Black Pepper Trail, a journey that stretches back over 4,000 years. Black pepper grows as the dried berry of Piper nigrum, native to the Malabar coast of southwest India, the only place in the world where it once grew in abundance. From here, Arab traders sailed it across the Arabian Sea, carrying it to Middle Eastern markets. Overland, it passed through Persia and into Mediterranean ports like Alexandria, the lifeline of Europe's spice appetite. By the Roman era, pepper was so valued, it was stored alongside gold and silver in state treasuries. In medieval Europe, peppercorns were counted one by one. So precious they served as currency for rent, dowries, and even ransoms. But the road from India to Europe was long and dangerous, controlled by a web of middlemen who guarded their routes fiercely. Each hand took a cut, driving up prices until pepper cost more by weight than precious metals. European kingdoms, tired of paying inflated prices to Arab and Venetian merchants, began dreaming of bypassing the middlemen entirely. Pepper wasn't just a flavor. It was a political goal. Whoever controlled it controlled wealth itself. This hunger for direct access to pepper became one of the driving forces behind the age of exploration. Ships would soon round Africa and fire the opening salvos in a centuries-long battle for the world's favorite spice. And the first to arrive in India's pepper ports would set off a chain of events that changed history. For Europe, this was the beginning of a direct pipeline to the Malabar coast and a new kind of spice war. The first battle for black pepper was about to begin, and it would be fought with sails, steel, and gunpowder. In 1498, Vasco da Gama's arrival in Calicut shattered centuries of Arab control over the pepper trade. The Portuguese weren't just traders, they were conquerors with cannons. They built fortified outposts in Goa, Cochin, and Calicut, forcing local rulers into pepper-only trade deals. Caravels loaded with pepper sailed directly to Lisbon, bypassing every middleman. Pepper prices in Europe plummeted, but Portugal's profits soared. Rivals took note. The Dutch and English watched, waiting for their chance. In the meantime, Portugal fought Arab fleets, Indian kingdoms, and pirates to defend its monopoly. Pepper forts became staging grounds for expeditions across the Indian Ocean. But Portugal's grip was fragile, dependent on constant military pressure. By the early 1600s, a new challenger sailed into view: the Dutch East India Company. The Dutch brought more ships, more money, and more firepower. Soon, Portugal's century of pepper dominance would come under siege. This was no trade dispute. It was a corporate war at sea, and the prize was control over the tiny berries that spiced Europe's every meal. The next chapter would see Portugal's monopoly burn. The Dutch had arrived, and they would stop at nothing to make pepper theirs alone. The Dutch East India Company, the VOC, was the world's first true multinational corporation, and black pepper was its crown jewel. They drove the Portuguese from key ports, blockaded rivals, and seized pepper plantations outright. On Java and Sumatra, they imposed harsh quotas and destroyed crops to keep prices high. Anyone who tried to sell pepper outside VOC control faced ruin, or worse. Pepper money built Amsterdam's canals and filled Europe's markets with Dutch-controlled goods. But the monopoly drew enemies, England chief among them. The Anglo-Dutch wars spilled from Europe into the spice ports of Asia. For decades, fortunes rose and fell with the price of pepper in Amsterdam's trading houses. But monopolies rot from within, and by the 18th century, The VOC's power was crumbling. The British were ready to take their turn. They moved pepper cultivation to Penang, Malacca, and other colonial outposts. Pepper was about to shift from a guarded luxury to a global staple. No longer just for kings, soon everyone could afford it. But its journey from treasure to tabletop was still unfolding. The final chapter would see pepper's war-scarred legacy cemented in our kitchens forever. From battlefield to dinner plate, the last chapter of pepper's empire awaits. By the 19th century, Britain held the keys to the pepper trade, and they used it to feed a growing global market. Pepper plantations spread across Southeast Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean. Mass production made pepper affordable, breaking centuries of elite exclusivity. Yet in former spice war zones, memories of blood spilled over pepper lingered. Today, Vietnam, Indonesia, and India lead production, but the roots carved by war still shape global trade. Pepper remains the most traded spice in the world, more than all others combined. Its history is a reminder that everyday flavors were once the stuff of empire-building ambition. The wars over pepper redrew maps from Europe to Asia, funded cities, and changed cuisines forever. From Kerala's green hills to your kitchen table, pepper's story spans oceans and centuries. It is both a humble seasoning and a monument to human ambition. Empires rose for it. People died for it. The world changed for it. And even now, every twist of your grinder connects you to that history. The wars may be over, but pepper still rules the table. Its empire survives, not in forts or fleets, but in flavor. This was the war for black pepper, a geographic spice war that spanned the globe. Like, share, and subspice. And join us next time for another chapter in the world's battle for flavor and fortune.